In a catchweight fight at UFC Seattle, you got Nikolay Veretennikov taking on Austin Vanderford. Now, Vanderford is the husband of former UFC fighter Paige Van Zandt. So both these guys really get the call on late notice, but especially Austin Vanderford. Both guys usually fight in the welterweight division, 170 pounds, so I'm sure they'll be somewhere close to that weight, maybe 175, 180, somewhere around there. Now, Veretennikov is 2 inches taller at 6'1". He's got a 75-inch reach. He fights right-handed. He also lands about 3.4 significant strikes per minute in 2 UFC fights. Veretennikov has a 60% takedown defense as well. Now, he's only lost basically to 2 undefeated fighters, right? He had the unfortunate opportunity to take on Michael Morales at Dana White's Contender Series, and it didn't go bad. He trailed 53-52 in significant strikes, so very close there, but he gave up 4 takedowns. Michael Morales is 17-0. Then against Danny Barlow, he lost by split decision. Danny Barlow's a guy who's 9-0, so he's lost to 2 undefeated fighters. Now, Austin Vanderford, a.k.a. the Gentleman from Portland, Oregon, he's 12-2. He's got 4 KOs in those 12 wins, 3 submissions, 5 decisions. He was KO'd twice, both back in 2022. But he did win his last fight at LFA 194 by first round TKO. So before that is when he probably should have been in the UFC. You got to go all the way back to July of 2018 when he won at the Contender Series against Angelo Trevino by second round submission, right? So at that point he should be in the UFC, but he still fights at that point in places like Bellator, where he ran off 5, 6, 7 straight victories before losing to Gegard Mousasi. A pretty good fighter, former UFC fighter. He also lost to Aaron Jeffrey. So that's kind of where things have gone. He's getting a little older now at 34, but he's still good enough to be in the UFC. It should have just been 3 to 5 years ago. But he's here now. Can he get the job done? Well, it's going to be interesting. Simply because Veretennikov, we don't know a lot about him either, right? He came into the UFC at 12-3. Vanderford's coming in at 12-2. Veretennikov's only lost to 2 undefeated fighters, so how good is he? We really don't know. But what we do know is that he's fought well against those 2 undefeated fighters, right? He outstruck both of them. It was pretty much even, but when you combine both fights, he outstruck them by 2, but gave up 4 takedowns to none. So I don't think Vanderford's going to be as much of a problem. Of course, he's got a takedown game. He's got power on the feet, but Veretennikov has more experience. I may be pulling for Austin Vanderford, just from a fan perspective, but in terms of reality and the prediction, I can't go against Nikolay Veretennikov. I think this guy's got a lot to prove. He's getting older too. He's like 35, 36 years old. So, both guys a little older. So, that might help Vanderford out, but I still like Nikolay Veretennikov and a little bit more UFC experience in the near term. Vanderford also just 1 fight, from the beginning of 2023 till now. So that's a problem. But we'll see what happens. I just like Veretennikov not knowing a lot about this matchup in terms of we don't have a lot to go off of in terms of similar UFC fights. So we got to ride with Veretennikov here to win this thing by decision. But I do think Vanderford fights well. I just don't think he's going to pull this one off. But he may get another opportunity in the UFC if he fights well. So we'll see. But in my opinion, Veretennikov wins this thing by decision on significant strikes and really takedown defense to get the victory here. Catchweight fight, UFC, Seattle.